There, my name is Thomas O'Regan. I'm a professional property investor here in Australia. Now, I just wanted to talk to you guys today about getting into the property investment game and some of the most important things to do to get familiar with investing in property. Now, I would say when you're investing in a property, the most important thing, one of the most important things is to understand is what is you need to understand the market that you're investing in. And that means understanding what good value is in the marketplace in terms of like, okay, so are we looking at 3-bedroom apartments? Are we looking at 2-bedroom apartments? Are we looking at 1-bedroom apartments? Are we looking at houses, 3-bedroom houses, 2-bedroom houses? Are we looking at houses that are on a 500 square meter lot? Are we looking at townhouses? You really need to understand what is the difference and what is value when it comes to all these different classes of properties. And so when you see one, you know that it's good value. Now, another thing that is super, super important if you are an investor and you invest in property is you need to understand the market cycle you're in. You need to understand what condition the market is in, because this is going to affect the way you negotiate on properties. Okay, so for example, if the property market cycle is hot, you're going to be far more aggressive and you're going to need to do deals quick, opposed to if the market is soft. If the market is soft, you may be able to put offers in on a lot of properties that are lowball offers. And when I say lowball offers, I mean ask the vendor or ask the sales agent what's the lowest number that they would accept, and go below that, put a load of offers out for ridiculous prices you just think will never get accepted, and then maybe they'll accept that, or you can negotiate up a little bit higher, still getting an ultra bargain. Now, if you're in a hot market and you don't know it and you go in with the strategy to negotiate as if you're in a soft market, the agents will just laugh at you. Okay, so if you're in a hot market and you try and lowball the asking price, they're literally just gonna laugh at you, and you won't ever get a property. Like if you're in a hot market, usually what happens in a hot market is there's the asking price, and then you have to, and there's so much interest in the property that you have to offer a little bit higher than the asking price to even have a chance of securing the property. Now, this is like if you just like this is why understanding what the value of the property is and what the market's doing where you're investing, because if you just go gung ho into a soft market or a cold market or whatever with a strategy that doesn't align with the marketplace, you're going to lose so much money. And I don't mean like you're not going to make money. I'm just mean you're going to leave so much money on the table. Like what I mean by that is if you're going into a soft market and you're attacking it like it's a hot market very aggressively, and you're offering over asking price, and whereas you should be offering the opposite. You should be asking for discounts. That's essentially losing money, right? You make a lot of your money in the buying, that you buying a property for the right price is where you're going to make your money, okay? Or it's one of the ways you're going to make your money. Now, I just want to be clear. When you're researching the property market, it takes a long time to research the property market. What it takes is you looking at a bunch of properties that are similar over a large group or suburb or area of a state, and just constantly looking at deals and looking at the differences between the properties and what's making them priced different, and what is like a reasonable price versus what is an overpriced property. You're going to have to get on the phone when you're looking at these properties, speak to a lot of agents. You're going to have to understand like what the outgoing costs are of these properties. Say for example, there might be a property that is say 500,000 and the outgoings are $10,000 per year, and you might think, okay, that 500k property, that's a pretty good deal, but then you might see another property that's 450, and you'll think to yourself, wow, that's a really cheap property. And then you ring up the agent and you find out the outgoings are like $20,000 a year. So all of a sudden, the fact that the outgoings are so high is making the property not as like it's causing the property to have a lower price, right? There's a lot of other reasons that the price would fluctuate. What I like to see when I'm buying a property, I like to see price reductions because of the situation that the vendor is in. So, for example, like there might be a vendor that's selling their property, but they don't really need to sell their property. So they're just putting the property on a price that is somewhat unreasonable, but they're happy just to leave the property on the market for a long time. Whereas what I would like to see was a property with a vendor selling it at a reasonable price that needs to sell it quick, and they're willing to do discounts to get a quick deal done. I'd like to see properties that have been on the market for quite a long time, not because they're bad properties, just because maybe they're marketed bad or the agent selling it isn't the best agent. Okay, so there's a lot of different reasons why a property could be priced differently, and you've got to understand in the marketplace, a property is not valued different because of how it's marketed or who's selling it, but it is definitely, those two things are definitely going to make a huge difference to the price that the property sells for. So what I'm saying is, when I see a property that has terrible marketing and the agent is also terrible, then I know that there is a high likelihood that I can get a discount on this property. If you combine that with the fact that the vendor is desperate and a few other things, then that is what, to me, starts looking like a good deal. Because, for example, I could know that similar properties, like say for example, if this one that I'm talking about right now was $300,000, I could know that that property that's trying to sell for $300,000 could potentially sell for $330 if it was marketed and it had a good agent, but it's struggling to sell for $300, and because the agent has no idea and the marketing looks like they took a photo off an iPhone sideways, no one's interested in it, which means I could potentially pick it up for $280. So there's a big difference there, $50,000 in value, just by noticing these little differences when you're purchasing properties. All right, guys, I'll talk to you next time. Bye.